Hey, hello, sacred friend. Welcome back. I am Lori Andrus, and today in this episode of the Meet Me in Sacred Space podcast, we are going to sink into some conversation about the crystal allies for 2025, which is the Star Cluster Aragonite and copper. And then we're also going to talk about the March ally of the month, which is Black Tourmaline. But before we get into that, I want to just connect with you a little bit. It has been a hot minute, or almost a full season, since I made my last episode. So the last time we tapped in, it was just before the winter solstice, kind of mid to late December. And it was around the time when Chris and I welcomed our new little puppy, Clover, into our family. Well, between welcoming her into the family, the holidays, a series of colds, head colds, and all the other changes that have unfolded around that, it's been a bit tricky for me to get back into the swing of creating episodes. I've tried several times, and it seems like each time I sink in, something pops up and either it doesn't get edited or I just don't like the way my voice sounds because the cold was lingering and I can hear it in my voice today. So we'll see how this sounds when I go to edit. But, it's interesting how that is. And I decided it was okay to just take a little break, slow down, and give myself some space to just savor being in this space of watching the puppy develop, being a part of training with it, and, all the other little changes that happen. It's been interesting. We've never had a puppy. We've had a couple dogs. We have always adopted 6 months and older. The oldest one we adopted was 11. And so it's been, a very different experience for us. And talk about puppy proof in the house, figuring out all the different training things we want to do, and working with trainers and different training things. It's been really a lot of fun. And if you've done a puppy before, you know that it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. There's all these little phases of development that they move through, and it's really interesting to watch them grow. All of the firsts, like the first time in front of a mirror, the first time going up and down stairs, the first time realizing she has a tail. I mean, these things are so fascinating and fun. And I'm really glad that I've gotten to watch them and be a part of them and just be present for it. Chris and I decided to also create an Instagram account for Clover. So if you feel inspired to go over and check her out, she has her own account. It's Clover the Esky. And check her out. Clover is an American Eskimo, a little white Spitz dog. She'll be about 30 pounds when she's fully grown. And there's a whole lead in already before the holidays. We did a 12 days to Clover, all of Coda's excitement around preparing the house and preparing things for the arrival of Clover. All right, so here we are. Let's circle back into the reason we are actually here today, the conversation that we want to have, which is around the crystal allies for the year and for this month of March. My goodness, well, this year is off to a very interesting start. I don't think I need to say much more than that. I think we are all aware of what is happening in the public eye, in the political arenas, in the world arenas, and there's a lot. And I will, to be quite frank, I feel like I have been on just a roller coaster of different emotional responses to watching things play out and just hearing different storylines and narratives and my own little rabbit holes of ideas that I run down in different thought processes. So I think we're all deeply immersed in what's unfolding. And what I want to actually talk about today is not so much the details of that, because we're all going to interpret them in our own ways. And I want to know that I want you to know that the crystals and stones that have shown up this year are definitely here to support us in really illuminating, pulling back the veils, and helping us to see things clearly. And then to also really be able to maintain and stay within our own energy. When things are going wonky in our outer world, one of the most rapid things to happen is for us to become off-centered within our energy, to find our energy being pulled in other directions, and to feel ourselves overwhelmed and in the chaos that is surrounding the world right now. And I want to invite you to, if you have a pen and paper, pull it out, take some notes with me. And if you also have the stones for this year and the black tourmaline for this month, I want you to grab those if you have them around, just push pause. So again, the ones for this year are the Star Cluster Aragonite and the mineral copper. And I'm just looking to see, I really only have a little piece of native copper here. Native copper from the Upper Peninsula, and I love this little piece because I think it looks a bit like Lake Superior. I don't know. What do you think? Okay. Oh, there, it finally caught it. The camera finally caught it. There we go. All right. So, let's dive in. I sat down yesterday to just be with these stones and see what they wanted to share specific to this podcast, because I've been talking about this in the sanctuary. We've been sinking into journeys and connecting with the stones directly, letting them share messages with us each individually and specifically, and working with them in our own ways and bringing them into our altar and stuff like that. We've been really diving deep with them. But I wanted to know what they wanted to share with this community here, this podcast community, and those of you who are catching this on YouTube. Copper right away just paused and said, go grab the melody book, Love is in the Earth, and read about copper there. And I was just kind of shocked by this because I don't really go to that book very often. It's not my go-to. My go-to is the Book of Stones, Naisha Ashian and Richard Simons, or I want to say Simmons. And so this one, and obviously it's a very big book, so it usually adorns my bookshelf, but it said go to this book. So I pulled it out and opened it up and took a little read. If you have this book or her smaller version, the one that's just paperback, no pictures, I was blown away by what I read. And it landed in a way that just felt powerful and gave my body chills. Okay, so I wrote a couple things down because I wanted to share them with you. The first one is that it emits a philosophic energy free of orthodoxy and bias. Do we need that right now? I think so. I think that would be really helpful. And then it is excellent for use in policy making and policing, providing insight into the avenues for right attainment and right pursuit in all areas. I can feel in my body the support, the flow of energy supporting all that's happening right now. We really need, we need the wisdom and the support of copper. It can stimulate initiative, optimism, diplomacy, and independence. There is definitely a need to seek and release all of the restrictions which one has instilled within the self. So many things here, so many messages. Now, one of the things I always think about when copper shows up is I think about how conductive it is and how it helps to move energy toward any goal, intention, vision. And so when we're holding vision, and right now vision is so important, holding crystal clear vision, holding vision of a pathway through, allowing ourselves to really tap into that and be unwavering with that vision is important. And the thing about copper is that it'll channel that energy. It'll conduct the energy towards that vision to and from, and allowing it to be grounded here in the earth is important. So Chris and I have land up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's where we spend our summers. And we're in what's called the Keweenaw Peninsula. And if you're familiar with it, if you know where this area is, you probably already have a smile on your face because you know where I'm going. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, pull up a map. Check out the Keweenaw Peninsula. This peninsula goes all the way up into Lake Superior. And in addition to that, there were many, many, many copper mines in this region during the 1900s. And it's got a really rich lore and story. And the copper that has been mined there, I mean, it goes back through history. The copper being mined and the large sources that were once there. So up there, we definitely feel the energy of the copper, and we very often find copper pieces from places like the driveway to the beach to hiking on trails and such. There are so many places where we just find pieces of copper, and it's wonderful. The energy is amazing. The thing about copper is that it really invites us to get grounded. Now, in the Stones Speak Oracle, copper is card number 14, and the message is to activate your creative flow, to activate it, to get it moving, allow yourself to really awaken it. And the copper message specifically is brilliant soul. It is time to bring a new level of mindfulness to your thoughts, your words, your emotions, and your actions. You are standing at the threshold of a wave of natural momentum. As you align with it, you will begin to creatively and joyfully create your life in a way that reflects your purest desires and highest vision. Whew! That piece of holding our vision is incredibly important. During this time, I think that's one of the most important things we can do is to tap into vision, clarify it, a vision of highest potential, and hold that vision. When we hold that vision, we take action steps towards that vision, we shift the momentum in other directions that's, pulling us away, or that's pulling society, culture, the world away from a place of vision, a place of peace, a place of wholeness, a place of connection, a place of working in union. And I believe right now that's something we really need, to tap into vision, to be able to hold it, and to allow ourselves to move towards it. And this, I think, one of the things that's really fun about the way that the Stone Speak Oracle speaks about copper is that it really invites us into the place of being creative, connecting with our creative abilities, our creative power, our creative potential, and allowing that to be a part of how we bring our vision into the world. Being pure in the vision, being pure in holding it, being mindful with our thoughts, our words, our actions, and moving towards it. Now, one of the things that I loved when I read this piece in Melody's book was there is definitely a need to seek and release all of the restrictions which one has instilled within the self. This, to me, just jumped out. It lit up when I read it, largely because we're in a 9-year, we're in the year of the snake. We are in a time where there is a lot of shedding going on. And in order to do that, we need to spend time looking at some of the veils that need to be lifted, the old stories that don't work, the restrictions that we've put upon ourselves, whether they've been directly consciously self-imposed or unconsciously through the storylines and narratives in the outer world, things that we've adopted in different ways in our lives. But all of the restrictions, they need to be released so that we can have the freedom to really stay true to our vision and to bring it into form. Okay, so now that we've talked about copper, let's jump into the Star Cluster Aragonite. I just love this stone. This is one of my absolute favorites. In the Stone Speak Oracle, its message is to anchor your light within. Anchor your light within. Yes. So as we're talking about this energy of really releasing old narratives and self-imposed restrictions and limitations as we lean into keeping our vision clear and focused, one of the things that's really important is to recognize where our energy has become scattered in our lives and to draw it back and allow it to be anchored within our physical selves. To anchor our light within, and from that place, allow it to shine outward brilliantly. Now, when I leaned in, I pulled out the melody book. I'm going to just go all in. And I just really enjoyed spending time with her book. If you have a copy of it, go and pull it out. I feel like at this time when I read what I was reading, it just felt like it was written. It was written for this moment. The stones showed up to share the messages that were written for this moment. All right, so the Aragonite, the message that she had in there was that it provides insight into the basis of problems one confronts in the physical plane, and it stimulates communication with the higher realms. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that she put in there, but this was the piece that really jumped out the most to me. I think one of the things that's super important with the energy that we're working with right now, and when we think about anchoring our light within, is about being highly attuned to this physical plane, allowing ourselves to be fully present in our lives, in our experience, in the here and now. We have an incredible opportunity to be deeply present and to allow ourselves to navigate all of the circumstances of our current reality from the place of being empowered, allowing our light to reside within. Now, we have all these global things that I've been talking about, right? But there are so many personal things that I know each of us navigate from one day to the next. And I want to invite you and encourage you to really draw your light in and allow your inner wisdom to support you in navigating in ways that are meaningful and supportive and empowering for you. I also want to take just a little peek at what the Stone Speak Oracle says about the Star Cluster Aragonite. And that is card number 16 in the Stone Speak Oracle. So the message is to anchor your light within, and then Star Cluster Aragonite speaks. Bring your hands to your navel center, attune to your inner fire, feel its warmth, experience its radiance. From this source, let your inner light shine outward into the world. Let all of you be seen. Let all of you be seen. It's not always real easy to do when things are chaotic and challenging. It is natural to retreat and to pull our energy back, to hide it in some ways. And Star Cluster Aragonite this year is showing up to support us in strengthening our ability to be fully present, to be fully seen, to be fully in our light. And we're going to move on to the Black Tourmaline. So Black Tourmaline is here for the month of March. And it's really interesting because Black Tourmaline is card number 45 in the Stone Speak Oracle. And 45, you add up the 4 and the 5 and you get a 9. And here we are in a 9 year, which is all about releasing and also at the same time imagining what is possible, letting ourselves attune into that, envision new possibilities for our lives, to lay a foundation for our lives a new foundation for our lives, to reevaluate what's worked, what's not worked, and to consider that from a real authentic place and clearly make decisions going forward. What I love about black tourmaline is that it is all about reminding us that we are safe and we are protected. And it encourages us to get grounded, to connect with the earth while also being fully present within our physical selves. Now, when I pulled out the Melody book, here is what it shared, or two of the things that it shared. The first is that it acts to protect one from being victimized by the negative energy of another. And then the next is that it awakens altruism and enhances practicality in creativity. I found that piece of in creativity to be really significant because we're really dancing with that creative energy. Copper talked about that creative energy. How can we be creative in bringing our visions and dreams into form? How can we be creative in staying connected with our vision through our thoughts, our words, our actions? And as we lean in with black tourmaline, it is really inviting us to hold those visions sacred and to give them reverence and honor in such a way that we are able to bring them into form with grace and ease and a bit of naturalness. When we lean into the Stones Speak Oracle, the message that black tourmaline shares is that it is time to fortify your energy field and liberate yourself from unhealthy bonds. As you transmute the heavy energies that weigh you down, establish clear boundaries and rediscover a sense of safety and equilibrium. Step confidently into the light of your true self, knowing that you are protected and empowered to thrive. Yeah, you are protected and empowered to thrive. Black tourmaline will really support you in getting grounded. And it has a powerful way of creating an energetic barrier so that your energy field is protected and that anything negative around you is repelled. It's like a repellent. It's like the energetic bug spray for negative energy. I know, kind of a goofy phrase, but that's what's popping in right now. It's a wonderful ally. You know, one of the first ways I think many of us are introduced to black tourmaline, or at least the first way I was introduced to black tourmaline, was through its ability to protect us from electromagnetic frequencies, and how it's such a good one to have around for grounding our energy field and protecting us from those frequencies. Well, it does the same thing for negative energy, negative intentions that may be coming towards you, negative energy that's swirling around in the world right now, negative storylines and narratives that may be flowing through your family or through your workplace that are moving through. Black tourmaline is going to help you to stay grounded in you while also protecting your energy field so that you can be at center and continue to keep yourself aligned with your vision for your life and for your journey. All right, so I guess that's really what I want to share today. I know it's not a super long message, but I felt like it was important to tap into what's happening with the crystals and stones. I feel like they are very on point. This year's forecast is very on point with what's unfolding in the world right now. And as we continue to navigate it, I'm curious and excited about the messages that the upcoming crystals and stones will be sharing in the coming months. Next month, we have blue lace agate. May, we have chain coral. And June, we have green calcite. So some interesting energies coming up in the coming months. I'll be very curious to see what begins to happen, how things begin to move. And with that, I thank you for joining me. I wish you a beautiful day. And as always, shine brightly. Bye for now.